Hey guys, are we live? Are we good to go? Hey guys, it's me, it's Robbie Calvo here. I'm talking to you from my home studio here in Hawaii, and if you hear chickens and all sorts of stuff going on outside, I have no windows. I basically live in the open air kind of thing, which is absolutely wonderful. I'm getting some messages here. Bonsoir from Patrick. Hi Patrick, bonsoir to you too. And Zach, thanks, looks good. Good to go here, yes. I'm going to just do a quick test, sound-wise. How's the guitar sound, guys? It's going to be a 20-second delay, so I won't know until... Hi from New Zealand as well. Steve Downs, hey Robbie. Hey, it's great to have you guys in here. Thank you for being here today. I'm so looking forward. So the guitar's good, is it A+? Good. Okay, I'm going to play a bit of my track too, just make sure we're all good to go, because I want to make sure that audio's good for you guys. Okay, how's audio for you guys? Everything? Looks and sounds great. Jeff Sheets. Thank you, Jeff. You were a real help to me this week, so thank you so much. Okay, guys, so looks like a ton of people are chiming in. I'm going to get distracted, so I'm going to minimize that out the way for a minute because I know I'm going to get distracted by reading your questions. So I want to get to the topic. Obviously, we've got a very short period of time here today to talk about my new course. And one of the things that I'm really passionate about as a guitar player, and I use a lot, and as you probably well know, you guys, I try to teach concepts that are usable quickly, melodic, make sense, and there's something that you can put into your playing pretty quick. So knowing that I use these a lot, especially for my acoustic gigs where I need more sonic energy rather than single note lines on an acoustic guitar, it's easier for me to get great melodies with double stops or two notes because it's giving me more music, alright, and it's easier to play or facilitate on an acoustic guitar. So over the last couple of years I've really kind of developed that into my musical style, if you like, because I just feel that it's really powerful for us musicians to get that harmonically rich sound. Okay, so first of all, what is a double stop? Well, the definition of that for me is it's two notes played at the same time that are of a different pitch, alright? And there are varieties of those different pitches. And I'm going to give you an overview today of major and minor thirds, major and minor sixths, fourths, which inverted would be fifths, and also octaves, alright? We may not get to octaves because I think that's one of the things that you guys probably could figure out for yourselves. But what I want to do is give you an overview playing over something very simple. So I'm just going to use an A7 chord as a blues backing track, if you like, or an R&B backing track. And I'm going to give you some examples of all three of those kind of things with major tonalities and minor tonalities, because we can approach blues or R&B with both, as we know, right? We can use minor pentatonic style or blues scale style licks. And we can also use, you know, obviously major pentatonic or, you know, mixolydian or major scale type, you know, mixolydian type scales over blues type stuff. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to play the track a second. I'm just making sure everyone gets online here. And then I'm going to play something. What I'm going to do is I'm going to play some thirds, and I'm going to break this up into a little bit of a section, if you like. So I'm going to play thirds, then I'm going to play sixths, then I'm going to play fourths, and, you know, a bunch of different kind of ideas. And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to break down those ideas for you kind of in real time. So if you've got a guitar with you, go and grab your guitar, because you'll probably be able to follow this in real time, because I don't want to bulk this down with any theory in this class. if you want the theory, obviously go and buy the course, and you'll get all of the theory for all of those things, fourths, thirds, sixths, everything, where they come from, where best to find them. What I want you to do is start thinking about how you apply these shapes, because they're shapes, over a specific shape as a chord. For example, if you've got an A7 chord here, okay, now I can find shapes in and around that chord of double stops, because double stops are chord fragments, aren't they? They're intervals, right? Whether they're thirds, sixths, fifths, or whatever. Now, I'm going to break that down for you a little bit more in a minute, but I want you to understand that what I'm going to try and do is show you ideas around a chord type that then you can move somewhere else. So if I'm showing you this over an A7, everything I show you over A7 can be over G7, providing you move it 2 frets, alright? So I want to try and keep it to that if I can, because I think that's going to be really powerful to get you playing it straight away, right? We want you playing it straight away. So I'm going to play the track a little bit, and then we'll break it down, and obviously at the end of this I'm going to be answering questions. So there's tons of stuff coming up on the screen, so I know there's going to be a ton of questions, but we'll get to those a bit later, right? I want to give you a lesson first, and then we'll jump in on the on the questions. So let me back this up a little bit and let's play it a little bit. Okay, so a variety of things I'm mixing up there. I'm just checking everything, all the audio is good, right? Okay. Thank you. So a mixture of things there. So let's break it down into the first idea and show you what I'm doing. So I'm going to show you these couple of shapes. Now, the shape you saw me playing here, 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 and here. Okay, these are minor thirds, all right? So we've got a B to a D. Well, that's a major, so you've got a major third here. So you're playing these really cool against our A7. So what I want you to do is remember the shape. So if you reference this here, you've got a C sharp to an E, alright? So you've got a major third here. Now, know that you can be 2 frets lower. Are they chord tones? That's another key thing that we've got to look at. These obviously are. This is giving you a really bluesy sound, so 3 frets higher, alright? So remember that. That's giving you a chord tone and a chord tone. So G is the flat 7, E is the 5th. So you've got 2 here that are great chord tones. Both of those are going to be sweet notes. You've got F sharp, A, so you've got a 6 against the chord. So if that was a 13, it would be great, because 13 being the F sharp, right? So remember that. So these are positions I want you to remember. Okay, over our A7 chord. Now you can see that squarely in the shape. And then what you saw me doing is playing these shapes here Now these are thirds as well, alright? So you've got a D up to an F sharp. Okay? So in position, if you like, thinking more across your pentatonic, if you like, obviously that would be here, but here. So you've got these moves as well, so you could add that. And then resolve, okay, to our A. So you've got some really nice position moves here, alright, around, in and around this chord. And I truly advocate, you know, getting used to maybe outlining your chord as you're, you know, sitting with it. Maybe just sit and play the chord. And again, okay, we'll talk about articulation. While we're on these thirds here, let's talk about the articulation of the notes. And I'm using my thumb, you can see that big nail, my first finger. And I tend to look at articulation of double stops almost like a finger picking guitar player. And the reason I do that is my palm here is muting a lot of the strings, right? It's giving me the ability to actually stop the strings ringing so much if I don't want them to. Gives me some muting of the other tones that I don't want. And being able to articulate the actual strings that I want to pick gives me the choice of how dynamic they are. For example, I can play the notes separately and let them ring, or I can play them staccato. Okay, and then obviously I've got slides where I attack both at the same time. So I want you to remember articulation is very important to how you make these sound. So separating the tones. Okay, and there would be a resolution point to an A too. Alright, so think in terms of a fingerstyle player. If you're a pick and fingers player, you can do the same. For these thirds that are actually on the same, you know, adjacent strings, you can use a pick really nicely, especially if you play like this. Okay, so you've got that option too. So think in terms of that. Know that you can actually make the upper note ring out more if you want to, and add vibrato to it. So let's talk about that real quick while we're on the thirds. Now you see me adding vibrato just with my first finger. I'm keeping the first note, the lower note, the C sharp, stable and strong, alright? And the upper note is adding the vibrato. Could you put it on both? Yeah, you could. I just think it's a smoother effect like that, and has less tendency for overtones to start wobbling about because you're not vibrating both pitches, if that makes sense. Okay, and you want vibrato, as in your normal lead guitar playing, to be in time with the music, alright? And, you know, as even as possible, so as smooth as possible. So there's articulation, you know, obviously outlining the chord and knowing which notes aren't chord tones, so be very aware of that. Now, are these chord tones B and D? No, they're not. So the D is a fourth against the chord and B is a 9 again. So if you played 13 here and you had the 9 on top of this chord, you know, it might be kind of cool. Or if this was a sus. But the reason I'm starting here is it's given me a nice movement through these positions, okay? So just to recap. And then we've got these shapes here. Okay, okay, which is going to give you more of a minor-y flavour, if you like, because you've got this minor third here against the chord as opposed to a major. So there's those in position kind of around the chord. Now let's now take a look at the sixths. Now major and minor sixths, if you invert them, are thirds, right? So a major sixth inverted would be a minor third, and so they have a very similar sound. Okay, so just to kind of look at that, you know, you've got a B here and an E note here. I mean a C sharp and an E. So, you know, if you inverted that then to this C sharp and E here, can you hear that? Now obviously the interval is wider, so it has, you know, more leap in the intervals, if you like. So it's a wider sound, and I actually think that sounds really great for R&B or, you know, rhythm and blues kind of music. So let's take a listen or look at the sixths now, kind of around our chord, and then we'll relate them to the thirds as well. So again, reference point here, and what I'd like you to start seeing is shapes around chords. Alright, so now can we see that in our chord? Absolutely we can. So we know they're going to be sweet notes, so a C sharp and an A, alright, so the root and the major third. And typically I'm going to slide into those, I don't have to, but more of an R&B flavour is added if you do. Okay, then I'm moving up here, and that's giving me the 5 and the major third against the chord. So I know now I've got these positions that I can play from these two shapes. Alright, now I can also slide this down 2 frets, alright, which is a really nice move, especially if I slide into the lower note, attack the upper note, and then slide all of it down so it all just rings. So watch my right hand too. I don't actually repick the notes, so there's another part of articulation. Okay, so now let's check out what these notes are against the chord. Well, the reason I'm doing this and think it's a cool move is if you take an A6 chord, there's a really cool move in blues where, and I'll play that over a blues a lot of the time. Now if you look at what's happening, again, we're finding double stops within chord shapes. So if we've got this shape here, that's part of my chord too, and then this part is part of my chord as well, isn't it? Alright, so that's why that's working against that. Let's analyse the notes. We've got a 9, which is B, and G, which is the flat 7. And we're probably hearing more of the G, the flat 7 anyway, so it's kind of neat. But also if you played that against an A9 chord, it would be really cool. Right, alright, so I want you to start remembering shapes. Again, I'm going to keep reiterating this because I think it's going to be really important that you just remember shapes around chords. Now, my move up here, if I look at my A7 here on the fretboard, there's my upper portion of that too, okay? So again, you've got reference to your A7 chord. Non-sweet notes, sweet notes if you had the 9 in the chord, alright? So I want you to think in terms of that as well. So again, let's look at our moves. Okay, which is really cool. Then I'm going to add this in here. Now the reason I'm adding that, again, I'm finding tones within my chord, right? And I'm looking at that right now, going, okay, are those notes in there? Yes, they are. And again, do our whole tone slide. It's a really nice approach against that. Down to an A7 here, right? And I'm moving through tones. Now, how am I determining as well which are the notes in between chord tones? Well, a lot of it is coming from diatonic harmony, and our A7 chord, and I don't want to get too heavy on this because I don't want to lose you guys, it's more about showing you ideas and shapes, but just remember that if this A7 is the 5 chord in the key of D, our diatonic third, sixth, octaves and fourths should all be coming from, or could all be coming from, the key of D. However, we're resolving them to the A chord, alright? So if you think about that as being mixolydian, you're using the D major scale tones and double stops over the A7, so you have to understand that as well. Now, I go into that in the course, right? All of that's in the course, but if I started that now, you probably would all switch off and get totally bored. So I don't want you to do that. I want you to just get some moves under your fingers, then you can understand this further on down the line. Alright, so let's recap on a few things. And again, it's about referencing. A7, these are non-chord tones, right? They're from a D chord, and you can hear that works really nice. Okay, now I'm moved across the strings. So we have 6 now, but they're on the 5th string and the 3rd string. And you probably noticed that I'm changing how my fingers are approaching these shapes as well. Okay, so you get the idea that you've got some really nice Now, obviously you've got to resolve, so you know me, I'm all about the sweet notes. So start listening to this stuff too and go, okay, so does that resolve? So let's take a listen to that, then we'll recap with that on the thirds as well, alright? So I'm going to pull up that track again that we were jamming over. So let's take a listen to see what resolves. Nice, right? Resolves, which is great. Let's see if this one does. Kind of has a bit of tension to it, but it's kind of nice. I like it. This one squarely resolves. It's really nice. Let's see if this works if we hang out there. No, right? So you've got to get back to the sweet notes. Obviously our sweet notes here, so that sounds great. What about here? That's nice. Well, they're chord tones, so it should. So you get the idea. Now all of that stuff you should have been able to follow in real time with me, especially the shapes. Okay, so the shapes now, you've got to understand that these shapes are going to be things that you can transpose into other keys because we're not using open strings. Obviously if we were, that would be a concern, but we're not. So now we've got some nice little moves in position over that A7 chord. Let's now hear the thirds against our track and see what's resolving and what's not. Alright, so this one's great. So there's a hangout for us. It's kind of nice but a little off. I think if you hang there and then choke the notes, that's really nice, and it adds some kind of bluesy flavour to it. It's a little out with that 6 in it. kind of minor bendies. Okay, now let's listen to these. Sounds like it needs resolving, right? Okay, so you guys can do that for yourselves. You can play these and go, okay, yeah, that one's resolving. Oh yeah, there's sweet notes, so it should. All right, so I want you to start being aware of what's home turf, if you like. I always think of this as, did I get home? And if not, you're still at the bus stop waiting for the bus, you know, and it stinks. So sweet notes is where it's at for me. It always has been. You know that. But so look for your sweet notes within the double stops, the two notes. Okay. Remember articulation. Remember slurs. You know, your glissando, your slides. You know, and even sliding down as well too. So that's really key, understanding that. So what we'll do now is that let's take a look, because I want to get a lot of information in for you guys in a short space of time, and so I don't want to labour on anything too much, but also don't want to leave anyone behind that may not be getting this. Now, there are going to be shapes that you get used to, and the shapes that are moving across the fretboard are obviously changing because of the intervals between the strings. All right, so especially when we're looking at our, you know, our B note, it's giving us different an interval that's different between the other strings, right? As a third there as opposed to fourths. So anyway, moving now on, because we can come back with questions if you want. Aloha, I see an aloha there. Aloha everyone. Beautiful day in Hawaii. I didn't get to the beach today, but I will tomorrow. Anyway, so let's look at fourths, and again we're referencing in position. I'm going to put all of that together for you and wrap it up in a bow in a minute when we take a look at the chord and all of the options and stuff that's within that. Okay, so reference the chord. Now on top of the chord, do we have these two notes, our E and our A? Yes, we do. Now, you guys could say, well, E up to A, yeah, alright, so great, that's a fourth, isn't it? Awesome. So, how am I then going to reference the other things within that? Well, the way I kind of look at fourths is, instead of moving them along the fretboard, which sounds a little oriental to me, and you probably have heard that kind of thing, right? You've heard that, you know, parody of that. I like to think about moving fourths and fifths across the fretboard because it's what we're traditionally used to hearing, right? So, alright, that kind of thing. And if we were doing that over A7, have to remember that we're in a different key, right? It's not an A major. So that's another thing to remember. So moving across the fretboard as opposed to along it, not that you can't, I just think you'll get more effect out of it in position over the chord. So let's take a quick look at that, and obviously we can articulate the same. We've got, you know, playing the lower note, sliding up 2 frets, attacking the upper note and sliding back without re-attacking. Then we can move over now to this shape and do the same thing. Okay. And we can see that as our A chord here. Now the other way of arting this was playing our trills, you know, our hammers and pulls. So let me just walk through that with you real slowly. I'm hammering on the upper note and pulling off, so picking both notes at the same time. Now you can re-pick this note on the second string, or you can let it just fall. Okay. Then I'm moving to this shape here and hammering on to the 3rd string 2 frets higher, which is a partial of this, and then my little finger going here to the A, which is giving me my resolve. Alright, so here's another little move. I'm going to utilize the D here too to give us a sus. Now I'm going back to this, it's giving me really nice tonalities, but more so against an E chord, right? Because they would be tones of an E. So what you do is, to resolve this, you can either stay here, okay, or go to our C sharp. Hear that? And it's such a cool sound. You know, doubling up that. I'm going to slide now and I'm going to show you another technique that I use, as opposed to just single note kind of picking with the fingers. I'll often just rake with the back of my hand across the... So I'm kind of raking and sliding, and then sliding back. So that's another approach too. You could use a pick for that if you wanted to, but I don't know, it's just one of the things. I've usually got my pick tucked away here and I'm finger picking the... So I'm utilizing, you know, almost playing without the pick, because I know that I'm probably going to go back to my fingers pretty quickly. So anyway, there's some ideas in position. So let's now tie all of those together, and then I'll show you a couple of the other kind of moves further up the fretboard. But I want you to start playing ideas around a chord and referencing. Alright, so let's put it all together. So we've got our... Then okay, so you get the idea. You can actually hear the tonalities are really strong. Obviously they're 2 notes, so they've got more strength than just a single note. The consonant sound of them, obviously these are consonant intervals, so they have, you know, they're not jarring to the ear. Also have resolution points as well, because they're chord tones. So start thinking in terms of that. Start creating little moves as well that are your moves. Alright, I'm going to show you I guess a couple of typical things that I do. Alright, so so that's giving me a really nice move. I know it's going to resolve, so I can also do this. And there's any combination, obviously, of those things too. So take some of my ideas and make them your own, because obviously I play them the way I do and the way I phrase and the way I feel those things. So start making them your own. Now let's talk about phrasing. Now, can we phrase double stops much in the same way as we phrase you know, single note lines and our licks and stuff? Yeah, of course we can. And one of the things that I've realized about myself is that one of my traits of my single note playing is that I'll play off the and of 2 or the and of 1. I'm typically not playing on the downbeats. So if I'm not playing on the downbeats, I feel that if I'm playing or starting an idea on an upbeat, it has more slinkiness to it, it feels a bit more interesting, it's probably less immediate and leaves a bit more space. I'm going to see if I can do that. I'm going to play over the track a second, and actually I'm going to ask, how's this going, guys? Are you enjoying? I guess there are people still signed in. I hope I haven't scared anyone away. Anyway, yeah, if you would, if some of you just say, yes, is this making sense? And hopefully you're enjoying it too. So I'm watching some of the feed. Yes, good, thanks Ron. Knew I could rely on you. And you're probably going to say some funny quip in a minute that's going to make me laugh. There's Gilbert. Hey Gilbert, how are you, mate? It's the regular crew. Hey, Jalalav. Awesome, awesome. Getting some wonderful comments. Thank you so much. Thank you. Alright, so let's see how this feels changing where maybe we place stuff, right? Now let's wait. To me that feels better. So let's go to the beginning of the bar again and see what you guys think. Wait. I like that a lot better myself. Let's just play some other ideas. So here's on the upbeat, right? Which sounds so much better to me than if we were a square on the beat. Here's off the beat. Okay, so phrasing, just as important as the notes. As I've always said, you know, if you think of music in terms of rhythm and pitch, right, and then obviously your techniques in between, they're equally as important, right? And sometimes I think people argue that if your phrase was awesome and maybe you dropped a note, is it worth keeping because the phrasing was so good? Of course, now in, you know, all of our doors we can actually move that note and change it or drop in. But I think the idea here is that they're equally as important, so we should practice our phrasing as much as we should the notes. So once you've got a handle on some stock kind of moves, alright, some of the things that I've shown you, obviously look for some more, because I'm sure there are, that, you know, they're everywhere on the fretboard. Find the resolution points and start creating licks that actually are phrased towards resolution points, alright? So it's all well and good knowing all the shapes, but phrase your ideas towards resolution. So I'm going to play again in a second and phrase towards resolution, or what I believe is resolution, and see what you guys think of that. Obviously there, right? There's resolution. There. Okay. So start thinking in terms of that and getting used to being able to shift between the shapes, maybe even across the strings, and combining these things now. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to combine our thirds, sixths and fourths kind of in position and just kind of play a little bit more for you. And then I might start looking at some questions. I want to see what we've got time-wise here. Okay, so we've got 20 minutes left. Playing position here. I'm not reading that one out. God, you need to go to the doctor. Yeah, you definitely need to go to the doctor. So I'm going to play in position. We'll look at the feed and answer some questions, all right? And they're going by mighty quickly, so let's see. Alright, so you see the idea. Once you've got a handle on some of the shapes and everything, you can start putting that together and making it rhythmic, musical, resolute, obviously, you know, going to home base. So I heard the dog howling. Yeah, there's a big golden retriever that lives next door called Chuli, and he's the biggest, soppiest thing you've ever met, but he's lovely. He's my buddy. And there's cockerels outside too, you probably heard those as well, and the coqui frogs. Anyway, I love being here. So anyway, so let's take a look at some questions. I hope that's been a great primer for you so far, and of course I go into real depth on all of these things, the techniques, the articulation, the slides, everything. Obviously where these double stops come from, so you can locate all of them. I give you diagrams all across the fingerboard as well of the shapes, and obviously then advocate you can move those. But the best way of doing that is locating a chord first, or your chord shapes, right? You can start seeing double stops in your chord shapes, in and around them. They're everywhere, alright? So remember that, and remember that's going to be the key for you transposing. Alright, so let's take a look at some questions. Alright, what we got here? Okay, so Matt says, Robbie from New Jersey, hey Matt, do you have any tips on integrating double stops with single note lines? We talk about that in the course for sure, and that's something I think you really have to get a handle on, in respect of, are you using pick and fingers, or are you using, you know, just fingers for this approach? And if you are, I mean, all of that is possible. And I say really what you need to do is maybe sit with the double stops and single note lines from a scale shape, if you like. So if I was thinking, you know, major pentatonic kind of thing, maybe you've got to finger pick the single note lines, or, you know, maybe you get to your pick and fingers, but definitely you should be integrating them. I totally advocate that. But think in terms of, if your double stop is from a scale shape, because double stops, like chords, are derived from scales, right? They have to be. If the chords are derived from that, and the double stops and the intervals, it's all got to be coming from a scale. And in a lot of cases it's the major scale, or it could be any of the scales, but look for your scales as well, right? So if you, so if I'm thinking in terms of this, I'm thinking A7 arpeggio here. So definitely start being able to integrate them, finding your shapes within the chords and your scale shapes. Okay, let's see. Los Angeles, 85 degrees, awesome. Would you treat double stops from a diatonic scale? Okay, so that's Jason. Yeah, absolutely. So I would look at, and the way I approached this in the course was, I said, look, here's your major scale, and I chose the key of G. Here's your major scale, here are the notes, here are the chords, so the diatonic chords. Now let's approach playing diatonically with our, alright, so G major, A minor, oh look, you can see it in the chord, C, D, E minor, diminished, back to G. Alright, so yes, absolutely look for your double stops within the diatonic scale. Diminished, yeah, not worried about diminished. That's going to be a minor interval in a lot of respects, or that flat 5. You might find that that's a bit dissonant, but possibly usable. Let's see. Okay, this is great, but listening to Never Been to Spain Late, and this course is just the ticket I needed to get finally there. Great. I love that this is going to be helpful for you guys. John Steele, so how about with D7, E7 and blues? Absolutely, why not? I mean, again, it's saying if everything I'm playing over an A7 is movable to a D7, it's, you know, everything's there, you can move that stuff. Also, you could see your chords in position, so on a D7 chord, right, it's all under your fingers. You can see all of those things in the chord, right? And even, you know, so E7, same thing, isn't it? So you've still got, hear that? So yes, absolutely apply this to the blues. We talk about that in the course, outlining a blues with double stops, because if you're playing in a three-piece band and you stop playing the rhythm part, the chords, the bulk, and the bass player and the drummer are going away, it's really nice to be able to outline the changes with double stops, because it's really rich harmonically, right? So that makes a lot of sense. Double stop, pedal steel, double stops. Yeah, I'm not good at that stuff. Jason Lachlan and you know, Corey probably better, but I mean, for something that kind of stuff, you know, I'm not really good at it, so I steer clear of it. Anyway, but I understand what you're saying. Yes, absolutely. Double stops with pedals. Yes, absolutely you can. All of these ideas, I'm going to go back to some of the questions at the top. All of these ideas applicable to any style of music, right? So if you're playing calypso, play your double stops applied in the style of, the sound of those things. If you're playing blues and you like an edgy sound, absolutely add some overdrive and everything else. I'm keeping it kind of clean in this lesson because I want you to be able to hear the quality of the sound. If this was me playing live, I'd probably have a bit more edge, and actually in the course I definitely did that too. She's breaking up, she's breaking up. Someone's on the Starship Enterprise. Jason Laughlin's in the house and out of the house. Oh, okay. Alright, let's take a look at some questions up here. Wow, there's a huge thread. Thank you guys for chiming in. I'm going to try and get to a bunch of these if I can. Looks good, looks good, looks good. I really appreciate you guys being here with me too, and very English, yeah. English double stops. Guitar sounds good in northern BC, so British Columbia, Canada. Thank you. Guys, this guitar, amazing, right? So it's the Yamaha Revstar 720B with the Bigsby Filtertron pickups. This guitar, I think, is absolutely wicked. And I'm going to be, while I'm looking at these questions, I'm going to be doing some clinics next week. So Monday through Wednesday in Mississippi. So check out my Facebook page, and if you're in Mississippi, come see me. Come to a clinic with Yamaha and myself. And then Thursday the 26th, I'm in Tampa. We play guitar action, and I'll be teaching other concepts from my next new course for TrueFire, which is called Lick Logic, and would love to see you there. Alright, no video or audio here. Haha. Okay, let's see. Checking it out. Alright. Okay, lots of good stuff happening. Very smooth on the phone, good. No bragging allowed. Alright. Oh, someone said they've got a big pipe, and Jeff says no bragging allowed. Okay. Sessions such as this is why I remain a true fan and supporter of TrueFire. Thank you. Thank you so much. And all of you guys, thanks for supporting what we do. You know, without you we can't do this, so that's amazing. Alright, I'm trying to find the questions, guys, sorry. Okay. Lots of wonderful people in here, thank you. Is this track available? Yes, it is. This track is in the new course. I wouldn't do that to you guys. So this is in the new course. You get to play over this. You get to play over blues, R&B, Motown, even some funky stuff with double stop octaves. Told you about the guitar. Yes, Yamaha 720B. Awesome guitar. Check them out, please, at yamaha.com. What does 2x4 guitar mean? I don't know what that means. Okay, let's see. Okay, sorry. Yes, using paraphrasing. Yes, think about that, guys. So my paraphrasing course talks all into obviously placement of ideas and where you're doing that. And you know, you want to be obviously applying all of that to double stops. It's the same thing. All right, so got some people here from England, New Jersey. Okay, do you have a personal different phrasing for Benson double stops? Not really, because I've not studied him, and I wouldn't like to say that I have. I haven't. I would say understand that double stops are what they are: sixths, thirds, octaves, fourths. Listen to his style and then approach it that way with that sound. I think that might be the best way to look at that. Okay, here we go. Okay, Slash style Guns N' Roses double stops are bluesy hard rock. Yeah, absolutely. And again, I actually played some single note line stuff in the new course with double stops as well for rock, and I think it sounds amazing because it just gives you a really rich, thick sound. So please don't shy away from it, whether you're a rocker or a jazzer. You know, it's amazing to do that. Okay, let's find some other questions here. Okay, answered that one. All of your stuff is great. Thank you so much, Steve. So 26 in Tampa. Yes, 26th of October I will be in Tampa at Replay Music, Replay Guitar, sorry, Exchange. Please come down and hang out with me. I would love to see you guys there. Yes, I'm being asked if I will video the Yamaha clinics. Yes, I will. And minor chord versions of these coming up. Well, minor chord stuff, it's still the same, right? So like I said, playing over the G harmonized scale, for example. So if I just do that real quick, so here's our G chord. If I'm playing this 6 double stop, it relates to this chord. If I play A minor and I play this works over that minor, doesn't it? Alright, now whether they're major or minor intervals as double stops, we can swap them out, and I'll show you that in just a second. But just to follow the scale, right? You can hear that goes with the C, and you can hear the scale, right? So I want you to think in terms of learning your double stops from a diatonic scale, if you like, and then knowing that if you're playing over a 2-5 progression, you've still got to resolve to a tonal center. You've still got to resolve to the 2. Alright, so if I'm playing A minor to D9, I'm still going to want to resolve here. Hear it? Alright, and again, I'm resolving to the 2. So yes, you've got to think in terms of that as well. Steve Down says check out Solocraft. Yeah, there's a big section on double stops in Solocraft as well, guys, so please check that out as well. When I'm doing an A7th at the 5th fret, it's easier to see the double steps. When I go to the 4th chord and still want to stay around the 5th fret, I get lost. Yes, I understand that. So what you have to do is spend some time then in position around the chord. And again, best thing to do, start simple, alright? Reference the chord. Okay, we know this is going to work. I have a funny feeling this will. Alright? Because now I'm resolving back here. Stay in position around your chord and hear it, alright? So if this works, which it does, okay, that works. So now we've got, alright, so I'm advocating pick a chord type if you like, or voicing, and find your double stops around it as well. Don't just rely on, oh god, I've got all these shapes now across the fretboard and I don't know which one I'm going to. It's daunting sometimes, and I've played live and gone for something and gone, oh dear, you're in the wrong key. But you know, it is what it is, right? So getting a good handle on that and being confident with it, I think is good, and staying close to home, staying simple and not trying to stretch out too much, unless you know that you can, you know, yeah, over a G chord. So I would say definitely stay home, stay close to that if you can to start with. Steve Downs, do you intend to answer that for me? Do you come to Atlanta with your coursework? I'm hoping with Yamaha next year. I'm not sure that we're going to get there this year. I'd really love to come to every city in America and around the world for that matter and teach what I teach, because I believe it's my mission on the planet. So if Armando, if you're still there, and Dennis, maybe you're checking in to this, please take me around the world, because I'd love to do your work on the guitars and mine and teach everyone. So yes, hopefully next year we'll be in Atlanta. General question for Robbie: who are your guitar influences? And that comes from Chris. Influence is for me, I love Mike Landau. Could never think to play like him, but he's amazing. Steve Lukather was a big one. Again, could never get close. Don't even try. Matt Schofield's amazing, Dale. Yes, absolutely amazing. Great phrasing. What a killer player. So many great players out there, guys. You know, I've never wanted to be another player. I've only ever wanted to be who I am. So I try to find music that I like within my guitar playing and then put that out there. And I totally advocate that for you guys. Be inspired by these guys and then make that your own somehow. Alright, really go, okay, I love this thing that I do, right? I love, and do that better than anyone else. Make that stuff your own. I think that's so important, right? So mahalo. Hey, Zen man, you are very welcome. Mahalo means thank you, if you guys don't know. Skylar Smith says, thanks Robbie, you are by far my favourite TrueFire instructor. Can't wait for the new course. Thank you, such a compliment. I'm continually amazed by the fact that you guys have stuck with me for so long and have advocated the things that I do. I actually do them for you. You know, I want you guys to be better quickly, and that's the other thing. I try to make concepts quick to grasp, so I want you guys to get this stuff and be better quickly. Alright, is there a particular double stop shape you would use to replicate horns? I don't know if I would imagine possible, right? 6, I don't know if they could play 6 as an interval together. Mimicking the lines. I think probably all of your approaches could, if you phrase like a sax player. And what I mean by that is, sax players tend to phrase lines that are very singable, very lyrical, if you like, right? And guitar players, we tend to play muscle memory licks that we play all the time, which, by the way, lick logic is going to change for you in my next course. And we tend to play like that, where sax players play more as a vocalist. So I always advocate that. In paraphrasing, I said, sing lines and then replicate them on the guitar. Also replicate melodies, and the sax players out there replicate melodies or reference melodies as well. So remember that. Remember that whatever you use, whether it's single notes or double stops, yes, you could probably mimic that with any of those things. I don't know which one would be best because I'm not a sax player and they'd probably lynch me for saying the wrong thing. Okay, in your mind, what about guys like Steve Lukather? Put them on another level? No, I think Steve Lukather is absolutely phenomenal. I would never get my guitar out of the case if he was in the same room because he would put me to shame. However, these days I know I have a voice. I know I have a musical voice, and regardless of what that is and what level that's at, it's valid. And that's what I'm trying to say to you guys. Please don't get hung up on, is this guy better than me? Is this guy on a pedestal? Should I not even bother? I'm no good. No, be worthy of playing the guitar, be worthy of going and making music, and know that you have a personal voice, right? So I admire a lot of people, and God knows they're better than I am as a guitar player. Better, right? But who's to say? You know, I know people that don't like Steve Lukather and would rather listen to me play. So I say you're crazy, but I'll take it. But I get your point. All right. Okay. Stay in your key center. Learn all of the double stops up and down in the key. Yes, I think that's a really good idea. But then focus around a chord so that you can make music, right? Because again, I know guys that learn scales, know all the scales and all the stuff and all the notes on the fretboard and say nothing. Well, they say a lot, but it doesn't mean anything because it's not musical. So I would say the same thing. If you know tons of double stop shapes up and down the fretboard, but you don't know how to apply them and make them musical, it's worthless, right? I would rather hear someone just do, repeat that 3 times and then move on. To me, that's honest, it's musical, and it's hooky, and I can get my head around it. If you get too complex, I think you lose people. I'm all about simplicity. Simplicity is the hardest thing to achieve, but the best thing that you could ever do. Anyway, that's why I play simply, and I think it's awesome. What's that? Need to hear that some. Yes, thank you, Adam, and yeah, and Daniel, thank you so much. All right, so thanks, Robbie, from Ron Peterson. I have to leave. Thank you. He says he's definitely ordering double stop shops. Thank you, Ron. Chris Bono, Robbie. Hey, Chris, how are you, matey? Come to a clinic and heckle me like you said you would. Ron Holcomb says he's simple, but he's a very interesting, complex man, and I love him to bits. All right, let me see. So we're probably about ready to wrap this. It's 3 o'clock. I want to do some shout outs. Guys, as you've said here, oh, thanks so much, Inspired in Texas. Thank you so much, T Macon from Texas. Consider it done. Yeah, I know, Chris. Thanks. Anyway, guys, I just want to say this to you. As a musician myself for a long time, there have been struggles. I've had some incredible tendon problems. I attended music school. I've sacrificed a lot. I've moved a lot. I've put a lot of time and effort into the things I do because I believe that I was put here for a reason, to be a teacher. I believe I was put here to perform and maybe inspire people and uplift people as well. And what I want to say to you guys is TrueFire are doing the same for you as well. They're an amazing company. They've put a lot of time and effort into the courses, and I don't think they're that expensive, right? I think TrueFire value is unbelievable, and I've said that to them many times. Hey, put the price up. But I think they offer so much for such little price, and they've invested so much in making their courses better, audio, video, everything. Please support us, as I know you do. There are great companies out there making great gear for you guys. Support them. You know, I work with Line 6, Yamaha, Godan. There are many companies that I'm very proud to be associated with. They believe in me and I believe in them, and I think what we've got to do as musicians these days is, it's getting harder and harder out there to, number one, survive or let alone thrive. We need to start supporting each other, be kind to your fellow musician, right? Don't slag people off on YouTube. Usually they're giving you free content, which means you have a choice. You can either watch it or switch off. But don't be unfair or unkind, so please be kind. And go out there and make music. Don't be scared, because time is short, right? We don't know how long we have. So if you want to play blues, go find a band or some people to jam with. Take some of these concepts, jam with them. Pick a course, watch it, take from it what you like, make it your own. And you know, just if we can, let's go into the world, be teachers, be kind people, be supportive, and you know, just live a beautiful life. So anyway, I want to share that with you because it's very passionate about, it's why I'm passionate about what I do and why I've made the sacrifices that I have. Alright, I've made them for a reason. Anyway, truly thank you so much for being here. Please go and get the course. If you don't, you can watch this video again. There's tons of info in here too. You're never bullied into buying anything, you know that. But please support us if you feel that you'd like to. Always a pleasure. Thank you so much to all my friends, all the people I know, the people I don't. Go to my website, robbiecalvo.com. Go to my youtube.com channel, so youtube.com/Robbie Calvo Guitar. Tons of free stuff on there, including gear demos. And I have a Soul Driver overdrive, which is a dual channel overdrive. I'm using the compressor from it now on this, and it's really cool. So if you want to go to rcsouldriver.com and order one there, they are all handmade, so we're backed up a little bit, but they are, to my ears, the best pedal I've ever heard. So anyway, if you feel like it, that would be great. Free videos on there you can watch. Just watch my guitar faces if you want to. Anyway, thank you so much, guys. All the thanks and gratitude here as well in the feed. And if you want to email me, you can email me, or go to my website, email me. And if you've got any questions, I'll always try and help. I'll always try and respond. And be patient sometimes, because sometimes I'm out of town. So robbiecalvo.com or rcsouldriver.com. There'll be an email section on there. You can send me a message if you'd like to, or my Facebook. All right, so Robbie Calvo Guitar or Robbie Calvo. Friend me there. You can never have enough friends. So thank you so much, guys. Come and see me next week in Mississippi on Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday. I am going to be at Mississippi Music. Biloxi on Wednesday, Hattiesburg on Tuesday. Monday I will be at Flowood, so near Jackson, Mississippi Music, and then in Tampa on Thursday on the 26th of October. And Dog signing out. Would love to see you. Thank you guys so much. See you again soon. See ya. Oh, and by the way, you can watch this video on YouTube. See you guys. Bye.